We're finally live due to endless technical difficulties, and I'm blaming Google for this one because I mean the Hangouts has just been giving us a nightmare all day, all night. But this is the Big Go Bell podcast. I am 2 Chains,
and I am Joan of Arc, and you can find me on the Twitter machine at Giant Crab, and the movie reviews and everything will be there as well. And to my right is
your boy Heel Will Mahoney from the Snack Society here tonight, Pally.
And we got a special guest. Actually, we are reporting live from the planet of the Ace. We got the Ace himself, Big Arik Royal. What's up, my man?
What's going on, man? What's going on? Finally, glad to be on y'all show. Finally, man.
Man,
so,
look,
it's been a long time coming.
It's definitely nothing that we have not been long wanting to do, but it's been. We always have our conversations. We just waiting for the big moment. So we didn't want to kick you while you was down when the streak was broken, but this has definitely been your year starting off, and it can only get better. So after winning the Old Dominion Rumble at Nova Pro last month, we knew that it was time to get you in here, and we had some things to talk about. So.
Hey man, so I came from my spaceship, and I'm ready to talk some shop,
Well, tonight should be interesting and fun. There's a lot to talk about. We will definitely, tap into your background a little bit. For anybody who's been under a rock and haven't heard of this guy that's been running the East Coast for, I don't know, since 2006 is your debut, right?
No, I actually debuted in 2008.
Okay, 2008. Okay.
April 2008. So I just passed my 10-year mark.
All right. Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk a little bit about sports. You're a California guy, so there's things to talk about there always. And then of course we will end the show all talking about good old Nova Pro, some CWF stuff. So we'll get it started for sure. So
yeah, man, sure.
All right, Jamal, what you got for us?
Well, you obviously work a lot of CWF and a lot of Nova Pro, and you really are the ace of the Mid-Atlantic. That is not a game. If they want to find you, they want to find you, in North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee. But you're from California. So what brought you east? And how often do you get back west? Is it the style of the East Coast and wrestling, or is this is where the training's at, or like what brought you east?
Well, the way I got out here was I was in the military actually for a few years, and
and
I had some family that lived out here. So instead of going back to California and almost getting caught being complacent, I just wanted to try something new. So I came out here. I came out to North Carolina, and actually it was funny because I was gonna drive to Charlotte and start training. It was a 2-hour drive. I would have done it, but when I went to Vengeance and Vengeance 06 in Charlotte with the DX reunion, I found somebody in line that told me about CWF Mid-Atlantic in Burlington, and so I got home that night, like 1, 2 in the morning, and I looked them up, and pretty much had to wait a couple years because I get everything situated, but the rest is pretty much history.
Yeah, absolutely, and what a storied history it is. Do you have any plans as a performer to take your experience out west? Maybe get inside your people. People
for sure, man.
But not everybody can get out to North Carolina.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I that's the goal is to get everywhere I can, anywhere I can, and that's always been on the top of the priority list for me is to go wrestle on the West Coast and California, Oregon, Washington, just wherever there's at, wrestling out there, definitely would like to go back and kind of, start staking my claim back home where it needs to be. That's where the Planet of the Ace originated at. That's the origins.
Right.
And, got to go back home and get everything, stake my claim back and everything. Kind of like y'all saw Infinity War.
That's right.
Yeah, I got to do what I got to do what Thanos did, man, and pretty much
bring balance to the universe.
Yeah, I got to go back home, bring balance back to the West Coast, man.
So you're going from promotion to promotion, collecting the gems to bring the balance to professional wrestling.
I mean, that's it, man. That's pretty much what the plan of the Ace is, man. It's gonna go, to the different promotions, the different planets, territories, and try to take over. One promotion at a time.
By beating half the roster.
Yeah, I mean half, if all. It don't really matter. It's just when I leave that place, I want them to make sure that they never forget who Arik Royal is and what Arik Royal can bring to the table.
Absolutely. So last question. I'll let you guys take it from here. Do you think Nova Pro definitely does something very different? It's very on the indie scene, especially with the whole gated community thing and how just a bunch of fans took the ball and ran with that. Do you think that the fans, is there a place for that? Should there be a place for that where fans can actually have, dare I say, an impact in the show outside of just being a fan? Or is there a line that is, that we're in danger of crossing, where you go from, you don't understand how business works per se?
Oh, I mean, there's always a line to cross, but I mean, you guys are there for a reason, the one thing about bigger shows, like WWE and stuff is like you don't really have a lot of crowd. The wrestlers aren't interacting with the crowd as much as they used to. It's mainly focused on the action in the ring, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I mean, those fans are there to be involved in the show. So I mean, if you can rile them up any way you can, then why not? It's like it's just like a comedian doing stand up. They say they do their routine, they do their bit, and sometimes some may cross a line that people feel that they may cross the line and say, hey, well, I know where that line is at. So but there's been times where I have stepped over the line, and you learn from it and you move on. And thankfully that I've got the opportunity to move on from that situation and just learn from my mistakes and implement that into, when I'm down here at CWF, I love giving the fans a hard time, and they love giving me a hard time back. And, it makes everything just, especially if you have a rough week, and you get to go out there and you make some fans' day by getting into it with them, for 5-10 minutes, wherever long it is. You're going to go home, that fan's going to go home like, man, had a great time tonight, man, especially when I was giving hell to Arik Royal, and, he gave it right back to me, and then he went over there and he was paying too much attention to me, and then he got knocked on his head, and it was great. I helped him lose, then they feel like they helped you lose the match or they helped you win the match, So, those are moments that, when I was even now, I'm still a fan, but even when I was a kid going to shows, it's the same thing. You want to be the one that's like, hey, you like when every time the crowd tries to get the ref's attention, like turn around, they want to be that person to help that guy out, to help their favorite wrestler out. So, it's a man. I love doing anything, but I mean, with the gated community, they feel like they can just do whatever they want because they got money, and I'm just trying to let them know that not everybody's going to take that. Some people are going to stand up to you that may not have as good a fortune as you, and they're still going to fight and do what it takes and not take no crap from anybody, regardless of the status quo.
So that you're not going to Kanye West the situation and then meet up with them, maybe wear the hat a little bit, just to get a seat at the table to actually find out, what the situation actually is. We're not coming up with the to make Nova Pro great hat that the gated community's going to
Hey man, hey,
Like, the conversation has to start somewhere, and in order to have the conversation, you got to sit at the table.
Exactly, and I mean, I'm not gonna go to the table if I'm not respected. If they don't respect me, and they don't respect the rest of the fans that come there. They got a rope blocked off where they sit at. They don't respect the rest of you guys that come pay your hard-earned money to come up there and see us. So, I'm pretty much, and I've been in that. I ain't never had no VIP section blocked off for me. So, like, I just don't feel like it's right. I mean, hey, you had back in the day, you had fans that love the Four Horsemen, and they'd go dressed up as the Horsemen. That's their prerogative. But I guarantee you, if they were getting in the babyface's face, the babyface is gonna, especially when their babyface wins. Now, what happens to those guys? They're all upset and they're sad. They just lost money on their investment, and that's what I plan on doing to the gated community, just making them lose all their money on their investments.
Oh,
okay.
So there's no bottles of Fiji water on the planet of the Ace, is what you're saying?
I'm not a Fiji guy like Gunnar Miller. I'm more of an Essentia guy, but I also drink regular water too. I don't really discriminate. After a hard fought match, I've been on that Essentia.
I gotta say that. So I get your whole ordeal with throwing Logan over in the gated community, but I have to say that out of all of that, I still don't. I don't see it justified why me and Jamal's session frequently gets Logan thrown at us, and our hard-earned money of our seats is always compromised because you decide you want to go bowling over on our side. So,
well, see, I had to, cause see, I went to every side, and then I saw I left you guys out, and I didn't want to leave you guys left out.
Fair. Fair.
I actually appreciate that.
Yeah, you've been pretty consistent with this bringing balance to the universe. So equality, balance. Arik Royal 2020, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like your match is kind of like watching it at SeaWorld, where if you sit close enough, you're going to get splashed. And by splash, I mean have a dude being thrown into your lap.
Hey, look, as a kid, I used to go to SeaWorld all the time, and I was like, those are the shows I live for, those Shamu shows, and he would do all the jumps and stuff, and I get splashed with that water. That's what you pay your money to go do, especially as a kid. So,
right. So that's what you're going to expect at an Arik Royal match. You can expect a 200-pound man to come crashing through your living room.
Yeah, it could happen. You never know when. You never know where, but it could happen.
You got to be ready because it's going to come.
Yeah, you got to bring your splash guard.
And back to Thanos again. I mean, he did throw a planet at someone, so it suits you well.
Moon.
Yeah, moon. So it suits you well.
Hey, and it gets.
If y'all watching this and haven't seen Avengers yet, I'm sorry for the spoilers. But
I mean, if you haven't seen Avengers yet, what are you doing?
And making them keep their eyes on the ring. That's the important thing.
Exactly. You're not there to be on your cell. You be on your cell phone any time of the day. Why would you come to a wrestling show and be on your cell phone looking at your cell phone? So that's how I look at it.
So just to tap back just a little bit from the beginning. So you are from Cali, and for people who just have never been over to the West Coast, speak about the West Coast vibe, inspirations from over there. I mean, because it's full of culture and a long history of like, I don't know, togetherness. Like people from Cali stick together really hard, and have always been about people, about movement. So speak about what does Cali mean to you, and what does it mean to be from there?
Oh man, well, like I said, I come from a military family, so I'm, the West Coast raised me from Washington State all the way down to California, and it's a very different vibe out there than it is out here. It's I would say it's much more laid back, and yeah, I mean you're absolutely right about people being together, man, because it's really hard to explain. But I mean, you know, like I don't really just like. You know, I have friends of all races, friends of all colors. I never really experienced like racism. I may have, but it just never really like hit me until like I came, you know, to the South.
Oh, for
especially
sure.
like Mississippi and things like that. So, you know, it's definitely a culture shock because it's like I'm always like, even the way I was brought up, you know, you always try to, you know, my parents always told me to treat people the way you want to be treated. So I would never try to treat anybody, you know, like, especially like the stuff you see now on like social media. It's just like, how? Like, why?
Yeah.
But I mean, just everything from the music, you know, it's like, you know, not only West Coast hip hop, but I'm pretty much, you know, a fan of mostly any genre of music. As long as I'm feeling the vibe and I'm vibing to it, then you know I'm gonna play it. So, is that the weather is always nice. I was talking to my dad the other day, and I got friends talking about, oh, it's raining, it's 50 degrees, and I was like, y'all have no idea. Like that's what y'all complaining about. Like I'd be happy to have that weather I'd happy to have that as bad day weather. You know. So like y'all ain't experiencing. I tell them you didn't experience snow out here. Then come back at me and tell me how y'all feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I tell everybody I talk to that they need to go visit the West Coast in some sort of capacity because it'll definitely open your mind. It'll definitely change your perspective on life. Because it's like, especially if you haven't seen a whole lot of the world or a whole lot of the United States, you know, going out there will definitely like change your perspective on things. Like, wow, this is awesome. You know, this is, and the art and just the music. Yeah, it's just pretty much, yeah, man, like free spirited. And I mean, especially with stuff being recreational over there now, like everybody else is much more laid back.
Right, recreational, like at the park, you know, like a swing set or a teeter totter. Who doesn't love a good carousel at the park for recreation?
Yeah, like 20 days after the 4th month of the year, recreational.
You know, one of the main goals is to go back out there and wrestle out there, and also visit friends and family. So that's always what I'm trying to look different emotions in the area that I will be at. You know, if I were to go back out there.
Yeah.
And even if they just book me on a whim, you know, it's the same thing. Like I can tell family, hey, I'm going to be out here for the weekend. You know, come see me, come hang out. So,
well, when you do that, let us know because it's nothing to hop a flight out that way.
Yeah, I'm always looking for a reason to jump out Cali.
Right, except Sacramento though, you can have that. But like in general.
Still there? All right.
Yeah. We got you.
No, but yeah, you get out there, let us know though.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely have to go see for yourself. So.
Yeah.
I've been out that way a few times. I was in San Diego last year. I'll be out there for the Survivor Series in Los Angeles, the Staples Center.
Okay.
So that's going to be a pretty big weekend. I definitely want to see PWG Championship Wrestling of Hollywood, and they got more than a few things in the Los Angeles area. It's just massive and full of wrestling. So it's always a good time to get out to Los Angeles. I need to get me get like some In and Out. Definitely need that.
Oh man,
double.
Oh man, yeah, you do. And remember, there's a secret menu. So there's a secret menu. So make sure you ask for that secret menu because that'll just show you what they have. And you got to make sure you go because it's always packed too.
Right.
So.
I'm gonna let y'all have that In-N-Out burger, but I'm more of a fat burger type of dude. So
you can go there too. It's out there. Most of them out there.
All day. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ain't going wrong with either one of those. Neither way.
You're totally right.
But Jack in the Box, y'all can keep that over there forever because that's absolute garbage.
Man, which Jack in the Box did you go to?
Man, I went to one on whatever the main highway is from on in LA on my way to Vegas, and I stopped at one like 30, maybe 45 minutes out of the city.
I went to one in Anaheim near the Angel Stadium, off of like around the corner from Honda Center. Absolute trash.
Man, look, I'm gonna tell y'all about Jack in the Box is that place for you know, when you drunk late at night or you inebriated late at night, you need something to put in your stomach. Jack in the Box gets the job done, man. Get them those
like
tacos, man. Two tacos for $1.19. You can't go wrong with those.
You can absolutely go wrong with those.
You can't, man. Tacos they're clutch. They can be clutch sometimes.
They're there to soak up the late night
stomach
fluids.
didn't like it. Yeah, my East Coast stomach didn't like it, so it was a.
Yeah.
And I was on my way to Mexico too, so that was that was a situation that you never want to take with you across the border.
So what was I about to go into? We were talking about that trash Jack in the Box. I've been a little bit off my game. Okay, yeah. So upon doing my homework for the interview and stuff tonight, I did see that you talked about being a kid and being a fan of Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage, two probably of the most charismatic wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they lived their truth. Like, you know, who they were in wrestling was who they was in real life. And I originally had a questionnaire until I continued to read, where you then start to say, but Bret Hart was your inspiration. Because originally I was going to ask you, you know, with being two fans of two guys who are really big in character, you come off very genuine in who you are. So, you know, what we see in the ring is more or less who appears to me who you are in real life. You know, so you just, you know, consistent on that. And then you went over to say, you know, Bret Hart was your inspiration, which I was like, okay, now this makes sense. Now, I think Jamal is also a big fan of Bret Hart, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I said in an interview that you named Bret versus Michaels in WrestleMania 12 as the Iron Man match is one of your favorite matches of all time, which is in WWF history my favorite match of all time. So, you know, great minds think alike, sir.
Yeah. So maybe this is more of a question Jamal want to ask to you then. But with Bret Hart being such an inspiration, could you talk or explain why Bret Hart?
Man, like watching as a kid, like of course, you know, I started watching when I was like 5, 6 years old. So of course you got Hogan, you got Warrior, you got Macho Man, you got, you know, Legion of Doom when they came over, you know. But like something always like the Rockers, but something always struck me when the Hart Foundation would have come out and wrestle. Like Bret was just so crisp in the ring with everything he did, you know. And then of course the cool shades, like I mean those shades were the coolest, man. And he had the sharpshooter. Like the sharpshooter was like one of the coolest things that as a kid that I've ever saw, because like besides the figure 4. You know, growing up, that was like one of the first like leg submission moves that I saw that was different than a figure 4 and different from a Boston Crab. And, you know, having little brothers, of course, you know, don't try this at home, but having little brothers, of course, I would try that on them. But it just, he was so technically sound. And he wasn't like one of the bigger guys because he was flying around there a little bit more, but just everything he did just looked so snug and so good. And like when they call him the excellence of execution, like it's the truth, man. Like there's no doubt about it. And he's always struck me like he's always like had my eye. And, you know, like the way he stood out just with his wrestling skills, his gear, and just the way he presented himself. Because yeah, he wasn't a big personality guy at all. You know, they left that to the Anvil. But you know, they let Brett go out there and do his thing, man. And especially back then in WWF, they didn't really have a lot of guys. They didn't let a lot of guys do their thing.
Yeah.
So, with Brett and letting him go out there and like put on like a technical wrestling match, it's because I grew up. I was a WWF guy. Like I didn't have a lot of NWA, WCW. Like out there in the West Coast, it was WWF, WWE. So Bret Hart was my guy.
What you're saying
is my guy.
Brett being the excellence of execution. I mean, that really, for me, that rings true because so much of what his stuff was, especially back then when the WWF was going through that cartoony phase, Brett made you believe still.
Right.
He'd make everything look so good that you could be like, well, some of this other stuff's kind of ridiculous over here with the Berserker and whatever they're doing with Demolition or whatever and all the face paint. But Brett's like, you could look at him and be like, I think Brett's real, though. Brett's like the real McCoy. He's like, real. His matches were a step above everything else that was going on around him. And I think especially when you're kind of getting to that age where you're starting to see things and kind of figuring stuff out, but you don't still know the whole score. Like Brett was that kind of anchor where you were like, no, it's real, man. It's the real deal.
And he was when people, like as a kid, people would come up to me, wrestling is fake, but I'm like, nah, like it's real, like because to me, like when Brett wrestled, like it really looked like everything he was taking he was getting his ass kicked. So it's like that's why to me I was like, yeah, it's real,
And then Montreal happened
to this day, So
yeah, and then Montreal happened, and it's like, oh, well, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah.
No, but I agree. I think Bret Hart for me has been like the Nas of wrestling. Not the biggest guy, not the flashiest guy, but you definitely had to pay attention to what was going on. Like it's not, he's not going to win you over with bravado and sparkles and pyro and all that stuff. He had his little gimmick, really kind of very simple, but the work in the ring, once the bell rung, it was over. So that's why that attracted me to guys like Bret Hart, Benoit, Owen, the Anvil, Dean Malenko, Saturn, and so on, because they were just great at wrestling. And at the end of the day, once you get past all the pyro and the pomp and circumstance, I want to see the wrestling. And I think that you specifically have like a lot of that in a world where everybody wants to be the next Ricochet or the next Matt Hardy or Jeff Hardy rather, or the next, meme. You have a guy like you that's like, well, no, I'm doing this. This is me. This is what this is what I'm here for. And this is what you're going to get. And it's very interesting to see a person that could be more or less themselves and not try to cave in. And I mean, I would love to see you do a 450 splash off the top rope. But realistically, we know that you don't need to, because that's not your style, and you have your own style, and it is what it is. And instead of just pandering to the internet and just like, well, I may not win this match, but I'd be damn sure if I don't get famous by like diving off something into something else that explodes for no reason.
Right.
So I really respect that.
I appreciate that, man. It's like you can still tell us. You can still, like I was saying earlier, like, yeah, you could do all the stuff that'll get a pop, and you can do all the stuff that'll become a meme. But also, like, yeah, there's fans in the internet world, but there's also fans there in the crowd watching the match, and they want to see a good match. They want to be told a story. So when they leave that building and they're like, man, that match was great. That story they told was great. That was just an awesome, awesome match, and that's the feeling that you want to leave people with when they leave, and some people's interpretation of an awesome match is different than others, and that's the great thing about wrestling, people, and I mean, life too, people have different opinions, but, I think more with the wrestling landscape, I would say that I guess they're more what's the word I'm looking for? They have more empathy. They're willing to listen to why this person thinks this match was better than that match, instead of, just, oh, you think that match was great? Well, you're an idiot. You're stupid. Get out of here. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the internet side of things. I think the real fans that go, that show up at the bingo halls, at the JCC, at the volunteer fire departments, all throughout the months of the year, that make the trips down to Nashville for the tournaments or up to Toronto for the tournaments. Those are the fans that can say legitimately that I know why I'm here. And there's a difference between Saudi Arabia is a perfect example with the greatest Royal Rumble ever. A lot of the fans didn't know who to cheer because they can only experience it through the internet or through television. That is not the same as being able to go to a house show in Florida or grow up with a person in NXT, specifically, or have this long personal connection with a wrestler. So when somebody comes out that I would have popped for, they were like, well, he's a guy. He has a name. Good on you, kid. And I think that like there's a disconnect between the internet and watching that online and going, well, that was good for the meme. But if you weren't there, to have Logan Easton LaRoe come into your lap, and if you didn't literally nearly drop him because he was so unnaturally sweaty, because Arik Royal threw his ass like a lawn dart into your section, and now your section's gone. He Thanos your section, half of it's missing.
Yeah,
because he's a grown-ass man. Right. So if you don't have that connection, it's really hard for you to say accurately, legitimately that this is what I like and this is what I don't like based on other things in the memes. So basically, long story short, support your local wrestling people.
Definitely. I mean, you would pay $40, $50 to go to a regular a WWE show. Why not pay half of that and come to a local show and be more involved? Be more involved. It's a indie show, it's just the atmosphere is different, because the fans are right there, I mean, of course, the goal is to always wrestle in front of 100,000 people, but you have to be able to touch those people differently than you can touch the 300, 400, 500 people that are there, feeling that atmosphere, that were there, going crazy when Logan got thrown into the first section, and then they lost their minds, and I was like, oh, okay, well, you want some more? Fine. And, then and that's the thing. And I mean, that's the thing about it. That happened in November. It's May. We're still talking. You guys are still talking about that. That's the things that things like that. It's like, I'm going to remember. I'm going to remember that match was great, but I remember that match because Logan got thrown into my lap, or Logan got thrown into the crowd on all four sides. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it just adds to the, like I said, earlier, you creating those memories for those people to go home and remember and talk about and tell their kids about, and then you're showing your friends, hey man, you see this video, dude, watch this, you throw everybody into the crowd, and then it starts spreading. You know what I'm saying? So
now another personal favorite wild moment like that you've been a part of didn't happen here, but down in CWF. Now, this is definitely meme-worthy, even though you were on the receiving end of it. That crazy match you had with Snooty Fox that ended up going all over the building, outside of the basketball court, with the basketball going off your head.
Yeah.
That is one of the wildest scenes I have seen in a long time, and that's just that one little clip of the basketball bouncing off. That should have blown up all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, man, that thing came out of nowhere too. So it's just like, oh, what just hit my face? Not a basketball. So yeah, man, and that's another thing, just going to those Chapel Hill shows. I mean, just wrestling a guy like Snooty Fox, who's from there. It makes things easy on me. I just got to walk in there and fight Studi and then tell the crowd how dumb Studi is. And how dumb they are for liking Snooty, and they're already boom. That's it. That's all I gotta do. And then Snooty comes out, they go crazy. It's like, okay, well, you don't have to do too much here. And I thought taking him outside would help, and he turned the tables on me, man. But I did get the win in that match. So, and then that's another thing you were just talking about, Will, like you remember that moment of me getting the ball thrown out of my head, and like people probably don't even remember who won the match, but they will remember that, and that's and it's funny because people like when they put it on worldwide, like the fans got the internet fans, the people watching at home got to see all that. There's people in the crowd that didn't even get up and move. They didn't even see all that stuff, And that's the thing is like, hey, if you don't get up and follow action, you might miss out on something. And so, they had to go home and see, or they had to have whoever came back in from outside, like, man, you missed it, man. Snooty threw a ball in his head, and now they missed that moment, and they had to wait for it to come on the internet. So,
and it's not the same.
Exactly, it's not the same at all.
Now,
creating memories.
Yeah, man, that's what it's all about.
Now, you have an extensive list of some of the top wrestlers in all of the world that you faced. Even when I was compiling this, I was going to stop at like 3 to keep it short. Then I just kept seeing more and more names. I was just like, who hasn't this guy faced? I mean, you faced Dijak, Hot Sauce Williams, David Starr, Fred Yehi, Trevor Lee, the Hardys, Cedric Alexander, Kevin Owens, and even Hangman Page. And one of the biggest matches that people seem to always bring up to you, and indeed it was one hell of a match, was against Chris Hero, Cassius Uno. I mean, at this point now, I'm very, very, very curious to know, and the question I wouldn't typically ask somebody because it's just such a regular question, but who is it out there that you would want to face?
Oh man, I mean, there's a lot of people, man. Like I'm not really picky in particular. I just like to go out and work with some of the best wrestlers out there, and to prove to them and to the crowd that hey, I can hang with the best because I'm one of the best. And to me that was the whole Chris Hero match. It was like, look, and the thing is, like, I looked up to him, growing, like watching wrestling, started watching Ring of Honor and stuff, and just he was one person that I saw that attracted me because he was different, and to finally square off with him, that was one of the things I was able to cross off my bucket list. And, I mean, yeah, man. I mean, just wherever the best are at, man. Like, I mean, any promotion, the Midwest is picking up now. Like, so I don't know. I got the Dynamite Cup coming up in June, and hopefully that will lead up to some more in the Midwest. But I'm not really, like I said, I'm not really a picky guy, man. I will say there's a couple guys like the Hot Sauce match. I'd probably say is probably one of my favorite matches.
Okay.
Because they got to test my technical abilities, and that's one of the things that I love to do. I love to challenge myself. We all know Tracy Williams is one of the best technical wrestlers out there, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna try to play your game and try to hang with you to respect me enough to say, okay, this guy can hang in here with me on the technical side. Because I mean, on the power side, it's pretty obvious. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but it's pretty obvious on the power side I'd have the advantage. But of course, the technical side, he has the advantage and would have the advantage, and he probably really didn't, probably caught him off guard of how well I was able to hang in with him technically. So that's always things I'm looking at.
Let's do what we always do, Jamal. When we had Gunnar Miller on here, we sort of asked him a question as he made his appearance at Nova Pro. Somebody he wanted to see, and he called you out, and it manifested, which we can toot our horn for that because we feel like we predicted it and it came about. So, I mean, I would love to see a Jeff Cobb versus Arik Royal match. I'll say that right here.
Ooh.
And if Jeff Cobb can't make his way into Nova Pro, then I would like to see Arik Royal instated into that Powerbomb television title picture with Tracy Williams, with Logan Easton Leroy, with Jonathan Gresham. You can definitely hang with those boys. So I'd like to see you in that picture.
Hey, if the opportunity presents himself, I'll definitely hop on it. And then, I mean, sometimes, they don't present themselves. So sometimes you just got to go and take the opportunity. And I mean, when they present these matches for me, I just try to do my best and take advantage of each and every opportunity that I can, because, you may not get another one. So that's how I always look at it. And, it just always comes with I train with Trevor Lee, man. Like I've known him pretty much since I started wrestling. We pretty much trained together, and along with him and Andrew Everett and a few other guys like Roy Wilkins and Chet Sterling. So, you always have that person, especially seeing how successful Trevor has been. You always have that person, that, all right, he's here. I gotta stay at that level or get to that level, But I always got to remind myself that, I'm 8 years older than Trevor, so I got a little bit more mileage, and weight on my body than he does. But I mean, and I mean the same thing with like guys like Cedric, guys like Paige, and guys like No Way Jose. Seeing all those guys and seeing the success that they have achieved, it's all love. Like, I'm so happy for each and every one of those guys. It just helps me personally to push myself harder and get to that level. Another guy I'd like to work, since you brought up Jeff Cobb, is Walter. I see he's getting a lot of buzz out here. You can't just come to America and, take all the buzz without crossing the ace, man. So
you're just looking for all the horses.
Hey, man. Hey, you gotta stake your claim somehow, and like the Gunnar Miller match, like I'm glad he did say that I was on his list, because I remember at the SCI last year watching him, I was like,
Uh-oh.
Oh, we didn't lose him there.
I hope we didn't. Got the image still there.
He's bringing up on this note too. He's bringing up the Cena City Invitational, which he took part in last year, 2017, and definitely wanted to state my claim. And hopefully he hasn't been announced yet, but it would be definitely interesting to see him to make his claim for 2018 tournament. And being able to tango with Gunnar Miller again back in his hometown. I mean, a lot of implications on that note. We got a lot to talk about as far as Nova Pro too, which hopefully if we didn't lose him here, we can start getting into that. But you're definitely right about that, Will. He's definitely going after all the horses, and I don't think there's no vicinity that can take. I mean, granted, now we're lucky to still have structure within the JCC with or the Annandale Fire Department. With
they dropped off.
We'll work on trying to get him back in here. Hopefully, what I was saying, it's amazing that the JCC or the fire department still has structure with the matches him and Gunnar has been putting on over the last couple of shows or whatever.
They've managed to not bring the house down yet, but I don't know. Next Friday night at the firehouse, that might be the night that the roof finally comes down. It's hard to say after the Rumble. We managed to keep the building in one piece from the Rumble, but now when the ace and the corporate captain are going to go at it again, it was a hard-hitting battle last time. I can only imagine what part 2 is going to be like.
Yeah, and just to catch up a little bit on his accolades here, he's fresh off winning the Old Dominion Rumble for Nova Pro. He faced at the last person to be eliminated was Gunnar Miller versus Arik Royal, and they stood toe to toe with each other, and either one of them was backing down. We got the ace back here. We were just covering as we shift over to Nova Pro. We were first off before that I was saying I would like to. You spoke about Scenic City Scenic City Invitationals 2017. Would definitely like to see be able to be in the 2018 tournament and to be able to face Gunnar back in his hometown. That could be interesting since he's starting to make territory up in your territory. So I know there has to be a little bit of a edge on your shoulder there to want to go down to Tennessee and make claims there. But we spoke about just a little bit what you went in the Old Dominion Rumble, and moving forward, if you got Gunnar Miller coming up this next Friday, at a Thread of Joy with at Nova Pro. So ever since Gunnar has made his presence there, I mean, again, this guy, he commands a lot of attention, whatever building he's in. And last December, he had a match with AJ Gray, and it ended pretty subtly, but Gunnar wasn't satisfied. I spoke to him after the show, and he told me he was just feeling like he didn't do what he wanted to do that night. So that motivated him to come out and attack you, which ultimately led to this feud that's going on with you guys now. And you guys will be again live on Powerbomb TV come next Friday. Again, tell us. I mean, we hear the blows from the crowd. We feel the building shake. What is it like to be in the ring with Gunnar Miller?
Well, he hits hard, man. He's got that football background. He played college football, so I mean, he's an athlete, and I don't take any he hits hard. That's all I can really say, man. Those pounces hurt. That jackhammer hurts. But you know what? I'm all right. I ain't got no broken bones. I'm still. I got back up. I took some more, and I'll continue to take every shot he has. And I do want to say that the first time we wrestled, it was on his birthday. So, I gave him a little birthday present, a little victory. So, happy birthday. And it's funny because my birthday is next week on Tuesday. So the Tuesday before that Thread of Joy. So since he went on his birthday, I think it's only fair that I should go out there and win on my birthday.
There you go.
And that's definitely the goal, and that's definitely what I'm gonna try to do come hell or high water. I do owe him for that last match. I mean, he got me. He caught me low, and I'll make sure this next time I don't make the same mistake, and hopefully I can send him into orbit, and we'll go from there. Hopefully it'll be a bumpy ride, but I mean he won't have no choice but to take it this time.
Maybe the 1% are going to have a birthday party for you next week of some sort, especially if you win the match and go over.
You know what? That should be the they should just, if I win, they should just give me the all expenses birthday package, whatever they got. They should go ahead and, we'll all go out on the town and have us a good old time. But until I have to be back in Gibsonville for CWF the next day.
I mean, they always have bottles of bubbly there, so should be some, bottles popping or something if the plan of the show's over.
We get this victory, I'll definitely make sure we find a way to get them bottles, and we'll be like Baby and Lil Wayne. We'll be popping champagne like we won the championship game.
Well, now speaking of the 1%, since I did see how the Old Dominion Rumble ended with you getting in Ed Dow's face and exchanging words and some heat right there going into Threat of Joy. I did reach out to him just out of curiosity going into tonight to see if he had anything he wanted to pass along before next Friday. So here's a statement, possibly a promo, but a statement from Ed Dow, okay? Quote, "You let the so-called ace of the Mid-Atlantic know that anyone who has ever challenged or threatened us has been made an example of. Before I showed up, he had a streak. When you threaten to destroy what I built, you learn the true meaning of pain. Never start a fight with someone who has more money and power than you. I go to the White House on a daily basis. He goes to Waffle House." End quote.
Oh. Too soon. Too soon.
Yeah, Teflon Don. That was not me. That was not Heel Will Mahoney. That was the Teflon Don Ed Dow.
Damn, that's really soon.
And just to put the pieces of the puzzle together. So Arik Royal was undefeated in Nova Pro all the way up into the Commonwealth Cup last year, 2007, where he lost against the leader of the 1%, Logan Easton LaRoe. And even the significance here is that upon winning the Old Dominion Rumble, that inserts him into this year's Old Dominion Rumble, Commonwealth Cup, where he then was able to select his first round match. And if I'm not mistaken, you picked Mr. Who? Did we lose him?
No. No, I see him, but
don't tell me he locked up. Don't tell me he locked up again.
All right, I'm gonna be on Google Hangouts technical support for sure. Asking them without giving us so much grief. But upon him winning, he did call out. He called out Logan.
Yes, he did.
So the redemption story here is just all more like it. Look, he's no stranger of the 1% gauntlet. I mean, he had to do so last year, going through the Prince of Pro and Bobby Shields, and it's just all the more seem like it's manifesting again, where he's going to go through Gunnar Miller come next Friday, and then facing Logan the next following month. So he's always been up for the challenge, and let's see if I can get it back in here.
He definitely hasn't backed down from anything, and his whole run at Nova. I mean, that streak was the hottest thing that was going for a really long time.
Some of the biggest names that's brought into Nova, he defeated. Again, I named some people earlier, Dijak and Chris Harrell. So he's never has backed down to the challenge, and just to get the stat sheet on paper right now. Okay, as we got him back.
I'm back, man. I don't know what's going on.
Look, thing. Man, I'm on their technical support tomorrow. Like I got questions for them. They're giving us grief. But just to catch you up to speed real quick again, you did win the Old Dominion Rumble, and then upon winning, you were able to select your first round pick for a challenge for the Commonwealth Cup. You picked Logan Easton LaRoe. I spoke about how last year you have never been one to back down from challenges. You went through the 1% gauntlet and taking down Bobby Shields and Prince of Pro, Alexander James, and then now this year you have Gunner next Friday, and then the following month you got Logan Easton LaRoe. So the redemption story here is just, it could be all more sweet knowing that you actually can be the one to conquer the 1%. After Ed's comments, what is your thoughts here?
Man, I just really would love to see the egg on his face when I take down another one of his investments. He thought that, and he should know this being a businessman, that just because an investment may not go through on the first time, it may not make money the first time, sometimes it takes a while for that investment to grow. And yeah, I lost to Logan up, and he won. I no excuses. Yeah, there were I look at it like this. You know, and that the streak was off. Dominated, kick ass.
I think
the interwebs is not cooperating tonight. do we blame this on the 1%? Is this interference from Ed and his cronies?
we have been having a ball of interruptions going on tonight, but we're gonna get through this. I promise that for sure. Let's see if I get him back in here again.
Man, we can race to the finish line.
You was about to say something, Jamal?
Well, I think like the one thing that really can't be understated is that, and we said this of Gunnar Miller. Gunnar definitely had something to prove when we talked to him, and his rise in the Nova Pro echelon and aligning himself with the 1% has certainly begun to pay dividends. Even though that ending of the Old Dominion Wonder was kind of kooky. I'm not going to be honest with you; it was kind of weird, but it was a lot of loose threads at the end of the Old Dominion Rumble. But it is what it is, and we are here with Arik Royal versus Gunnar Miller on the way to the Commonwealth Cup. We'll face Logan. Now, for Arik, having the streak broken, for battling the 1% for most of his time in Nova Pro, I get it, and we'll ask him when he gets back on, but is it considered a success in any capacity if he does not win the Commonwealth Cup? Or will he accept anything other than a win? Because I think that the way he's been going, you're right, it is a great redemption story, but it doesn't matter if he doesn't win the Commonwealth Cup, right?
Well, we got back. We asking, hey man, you're. I believe Mr. Dow is tapping into your lines. We're definitely going to blame that on him and his connections in the government.
Something because I had a good response to that, but I think I still got it. And he could throw all the money he wants at all the investments he wants. But the thing is that I'm not gonna stop. Like he may have me down. Like, yeah, Logan beat me, but you know what I did? I started another streak. Now that streak's over, I'll just start another one. If I lose again, I'll just start another one. And also to be the only man in Nova Pro history to not only have a streak as long as I did, but then to be the first person to win the Old Dominion Rumble. And I want to be the first person and the only person to win the Old Dominion Rumble and the Commonwealth Cup. Nobody can stake claim to that. And so, I'm not going to let whatever money he's throwing out, I'm not going to let that stop me. And, he says that he goes to the White House every day. Well, I feel bad for him because he's doing what he's doing. He ain't doing a good job. And he says I go to Waffle House.
I mean, Waffle House is delicious. I don't know what the problem is there.
I tell him what, hey, once I beat Gunnar this Friday, then he could pay for my Waffle House.
You wash it down with champagne.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, wash it down with that champagne. Exactly. I'll take that pecan waffle all day. So he can buy me all the pecan waffles he wants. But yeah, like I'm not like I try to do a good job of blocking out detractors, and when you have the money and to put yourself out there like that, I just had to let him know that I'm about to break the bank. Like I'm about to make him go bankrupt. I'm going to do whatever I can, and I'll beat whoever, and I'll demolish and whoever he puts in front of me. I'll take care of them.
Yeah. Follow up, Jamal, with that.
As we've seen with
you know, I want to make sure that the next person he throws at me, and when he tries to throw some more money at them to come at me, that person's like, you know what? I appreciate the offer, but you know what? That money, I can't do it no more. Because Arik Royal's going to kick my ass because he did it before. And I don't want to get my ass kicked again by Arik Royal because...
Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to take an ass.
You throwing at me, I'll keep... So that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
I'll just send them into space with everybody else.
I got to ask you this before, the Ed reconnects and taps into your phone.
Yeah.
You have the chance to win the Commonwealth Cup for this year. You're also the only Old Dominion Rumble winner ever. Would it be considered a success if anything other than a win happens, you winning the Commonwealth Cup? Or is it win the Commonwealth Cup or nothing?
Well, once I get past next Friday with Gunnar Miller, it's all focused on that Commonwealth Cup. And I mean, to be honest with you, I'm still that loss last year stuck with me, and it stuck with me for a long time. And that's why that win against Logan at Nova Project 3, it helped satisfy that a little bit. But now it's time to go out here and hopefully I could do it again. And I mean, hopefully, like I know I'll do it again in the first round on June 8th. But I know what they're trying to send Gunnar out there to soften me up for Logan. And it's not going to happen. I'm not going to let that happen. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to let it happen because I'm going to beat Gunnar. And it's just going to take more than one jackhammer. It's going to take more than one pounce and whatever else he's got to beat me. I still have things in my playbook and in my arsenal that Gunnar hasn't seen yet.
Oh.
And he doesn't know that unless he's been watching my stuff. But, I mean, I haven't pulled out the whole arsenal yet. And if I have to go into that bag, I will. It's not a problem. And, hey, I think next Friday I might have to go in that bag. But, hey, that's okay.
Oh. So you telling me you bringing a Peacemaker then? And
I might have to.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I might have to just snap my fingers. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Hopefully y'all don't disintegrate, but hopefully the whole 1% disintegrates and they disintegrate. And so
I don't know, man. Let's see. Almost dropped some spoilers. Well, I ain't gonna say that. Had to stop myself there.
Yeah.
Well, before we get out of here real quick, I know, Will, did you had maybe a couple of more tweets or questions to read off to him real quick?
Oh, well, the only other thing that came up, was it our buddy? It's your opponent for next week. When I was asking for questions, Gunnar jumped right into the mentions right away. And Gunnar had to say, let's say, quote, "I've got one. For such a big guy, why does he hit like a little bitch?" Gunner's talking big already.
I mean, he is. I mean, he got that dub. He got that dub on me under questionable tactics. I didn't have to kick nobody in the nuts to throw his ass over the top rope, but he's just salty. He's just salty because he lost, and he's just salty because I outsmarted him. And you know what? I'm gonna outsmart him again, May 11th, and then he'll see how I hit like a little bitch or not. We'll see how hard I hit. He thinks I hit like a bitch. We'll see. We'll see his tone and his reaction after I send his ass into orbit, because he ain't been sent into orbit yet. He's been lucky enough not to, but next Friday, I don't think he'll be so lucky.
Folks better get those tickets up close. There might be a liftoff next Friday night at the Firehouse.
Actually, on the contrary, you don't want to be close because you probably won't have a seat by the end of the show. So make sure you try to get the furthest you can from that match.
I mean, you know, when I send them up, he might come down in one of y'all's laps. So I mean, yeah, and he's a big boy, so you know, I would get out of the way too. And I'll try to send him into 1%ers where he belongs, or you know, I could send him into the trash. Well, I hit like a bitch. I'll just send his ass into the trash. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not one of those prissy quarterbacks that he went to hit back in college. So he won't be saying that when I kick him in the face.
Well, for the crew, anybody else got anything to give out to Arik Royal before we wrap it up tonight?
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, keep doing what you're doing. You know, definitely let us know. Don't forget us when you're famous. You're going back to Cali like LL and Biggie, then you know, definitely need to know what's going on with that. So please, you know, keep us in the loop on things. We'll definitely spread the word whenever we can.
For sure. Well, yeah. I'm not trying to try to go out like Biggie, go back to Cali like Biggie, because he didn't come back. So
no, he did not.
Yeah,
he went to Jack in the Box, and it was a situation.
Oh man, yeah.
I'll make sure when I check into the Bay Area, when I holler at E40, I name drop you, so I got a pass out there, so we good.
That 40 water, man, you know it. Yeah, get on that 40 water. Too short, too cheesy. Be out there with him, man. So I'm pretty sure that hook you up with some Warriors tickets. You know what I'm saying? And you know, check out the Dubs, man.
Oh, dang. You got it, Dave, for Will, before we get out of here?
I think I covered everything I had. I passed along any messages that were given to me.
You did.
Just remember, that wasn't me talking.
Right. And, you know, I'm not going to shoot the messenger. You know what I'm saying? But
that's clearly Will's claim to not have anything thrown his object.
Just into space. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to send him into space.
So Arik, before we get out of here, definitely, it's been a pleasure. We finally did this. We definitely gonna have to do it more. You have a lot of big things coming up in the future, so you know, get yourself comfortable. Let's get this connection issues worked out so we can definitely have you back.
Yeah, for sure. Google.
Yeah,
y'all need to fix this shit. Google. Come on, get your shit together, man.
Make sure you let everybody know where your social medias are.
Yeah, man. So I got a Facebook page, Arik Royal. That's my wrestler page. So go like it. I'm not on it as much, so if you go like it, I can get on there more and give y'all the updates on Facebook. I'm mainly on Twitter at Big Arik Royal. So follow me on Twitter. I talk about sports and other random things. And I'll normally post where I'll be at that weekend. And I got Instagram at ace_royal11. So you can follow me on Instagram. And I also got the Snapchat. So you can follow me on the Snapchat. I can't remember my Snap name. So you can look me up on Snap. Just look up Arik Royal or look up Ace Royal, and I should be on there, man. And but yeah, man, just follow me on all social media accounts. And like I said, so this weekend I'm off, but next weekend I got Gunnar Miller in front of me. Got that business. So got that Friday, Saturday. I'm back in Gibsonville, CWF, and then I'll be back for the Commonwealth Cup on June 8th and 9th, man. And June 8th. Yeah, I was right before June 8th and 9th because I'm about to go win like Major League. Like I said, I won the whole effing thing. So I'll be out there. I should have some new T-shirts. I got some in the works right now, so I will have some new T-shirts soon. Hopefully by Commonwealth Cup, I will have those T-shirts. And I also got PayPal, so you want to You know, you want to buy any of my merch? I got the rubber wristbands now. I got stickers, so you can go to my PayPal page. It's in my link on my Twitter. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much where I be at, and I check my social media regularly, so I try to get back to as many people as I can when I get mentioned. So that's how it goes, man. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Well, again, dear, we definitely appreciate you coming on for us tonight through all the technical issues in and out. We made it happen, so we look forward to seeing you next week and everything else you got going on. Yeah, for sure. And and for everyone that tuned in, thanks for tuning in, working with us, staying patient as we work through everything, and we'll get back to you. Definitely, we have a lot to do next week and stuff. So, stay tuned. Follow our social medias, keep us up with all the updates and stuff like that. And we will catch you guys for our next show. Thanks for tuning in.
Sounds good. Yay.
Yay.